We want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. It is mid-December, and we are in the heart of Advent. All the busyness of ministry during this time of year can be a little bit crazy. We all have things happening. It is nice that I am joined by all of our ministry leads. Well, not all of our ministry leads. Sam leads ministry.
He's digging out from
he's still doing a variety of other things, and I don't know that he would really want to be here chiming in, but it's an opportunity for all of us to get together. We have our Christmas services coming up. We have the 4th annual Tree Fest. Steve's headed to the castle this weekend, which I know you're sad that you won't be able to be here to help with the ladies' luncheon. That is on Saturday.
Yeah, I did help last year.
Yes, you did. You did.
Or with the singing of "O Holy Night" this Sunday.
Yes.
I know that's going to really hurt you to miss that, Stevie.
Who's singing that?
Who's singing that?
The congregation were singing "O Holy Night."
Yeah.
It's Steve's absolute favorite.
Sure, he might lead it on Christmas Eve, I hear.
I think so.
The David Crowder version.
With added verses.
Yes, but verses that he's going to choose to add.
That's right. That I make up on my own.
You
We're
missed
Weird
Paula.
Al. We're gonna Weird Al.
You missed staff meeting today in the assessment of this past week, Libby. You can ask Steve his feelings of Weird Alling worship songs, as he said, and just taking some verses from others and bridges and kind of throwing them together. But but yes, we have a lot coming up, and it's great in the midst of it. I have the privilege. Angie and I are going down to the Dominican. Actually, we will be in air when this airs, or we will have just landed in the Dominican for Casa Missionero's first graduation. We're excited to celebrate with the college students that are graduating from this program, especially Christian, the one that the Federated Church has sponsored over the last 3 years. And so there's just a lot going on. And so it is great, but it's also it's a crazy time of year, and it's one of those things. And I'm joined, like I said, by the staff today, and we're going to be sharing about some of those things that are coming up to make people aware about the ministry that's happening here at the church. But then we're also going to be touching base a little bit in our Advent study this year, which is unwrapping the names of Jesus. And so I'm excited to hear what name of Jesus speaks to you guys the most, or maybe it's just in this season of life, a name that has been very meaningful recently. So we're looking forward to that. But before that happens, I would love to dive in the midst of the craziness and get a little bit of updates from people ministry-wise. And Pastor Ed, I'm going to start with you. Okay. I was informed by some of the residents of Pleasant Ridge that you guys were coming as a worship band a praise choir and singing on Friday the 13th, but that is incorrect when the concert's going to be.
That is incorrect.
So when are you guys going to be there at Pleasant Ridge to give them a little bit of a concert?
Yeah, we're going on the 22nd of December. We're having a great month. Just the way the schedule has worked out. We sang this last Sunday. We're going to sing the first service this coming Sunday before the preschool kids do the second service.
We'll hear about that in a second. No.
And then we're singing on the morning of the 22nd, and then we're going out to Pleasant Ridge. And this is something we've done for many years. Everything had to be dropped during COVID.
Yeah.
And so we finally got to go back 2 years ago, and for whatever reasons we missed last year. But we're really looking forward to going again this year.
Yeah. And I know that there was a number of the residents that were talking about it. I had the chance to go lead chapel this Sunday for the first time, actually.
Wonderful.
To cover for Joe Coffer, who had other obligations. And it was really good. That little chapel there, they pack it out. There was very little room, and so it was neat to be there and worship with them and sing along and just have some interaction and see some people of the church that I've been close to for a lot of years. So and Angie's uncle's there, so it was really good to spend some time with Uncle John to do that. So Steve,
yes,
you are taking off when And for how long to head to the castle?
Yeah, we're headed out Friday evening. We'll be back Sunday by the end of second service. We're headed to the castle in Franklin, PA. So hopefully we'll get all the students loaded into some sort of vehicle to get down there. Mm-hmm. So that's always fun.
Sort of.
Yeah, we'll get them into something.
And I know that
down there.
Yeah, I know that.
And every mother is cringing now, including the ones across the table.
Oh man!
Ian didn't write his paper, so he can't come this year. But next year he is welcome to come. He's like, I didn't write that paper, Steve. I was like, you can come next year.
You checked him out with that one.
Yeah, I was like, you can come next year, and you don't have to write a paper. So yeah, he's got one more year.
So is it 7th through 12th, or can 6th graders go?
8th.
Okay,
through 12th.
8.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Andrew's got a couple years anyways.
Yeah.
Before he's old enough, but you have a group of like 30.
Yeah, about 30 students and 12 adult leaders. So we got a good crew heading up to the castle, and it's just a little bit different than Winter Blast because we spend time fasting, this year our focus is doing some of the Knowing Freedom study that many in the church have done. So we're doing a few sessions of that. So this year, one thing that is different is we are going to take students' cell phones for the majority of the time. Before it was we would just take them for the sessions and the quiet time because we have long times of silence. But we're going to take the phones for the majority of the time. They'll only really have it at free time, and then even in the evening they won't have it for bedtime, which is kind of, I know it's bothering some of them to not have it at night, but I did want to at least let kids know and not just snatch it from them and be like, I didn't know I signed up for this, so.
Well, that's, so I'm, like I said, I'm heading down to the Dominican, and Nelson, his oldest son, who just turned 20, he had the privilege of one of their sponsors paid for him to go be part of a deconstruction group in a good way of deconstructing your faith and what do we believe according to Scripture. Like what, instead of just because your parents have told you this, like let's dive into the Word. And they were in the mountains in Colorado, and it was like 18 to 22-year-olds, and their phones were shut off all week, and they had like 2 hours on Sunday. And talking to him, and obviously he's gotten back into the swing of things over the last year and a half, and he has his phone, and it's still something to work through. But he said it was the most freeing thing that was just so good. And I was actually watching an interview recently, and I'll try not to get off on too much of a tangent here, but a former NFL player, Greg Olson, was talking about going to one of his best friend's weddings, one of his teammates, and because it was a celebrity wedding, Christian McCaffrey's wedding, like all phones had to be put in a lock bag when you arrived.
Wow.
And like nobody was up because they couldn't take pictures because they paid so much for the photographer. Nothing could get out. They would sell them, all that stuff. He said 200 individuals who were all extremely successful, lawyers, doctors, professional athletes, all sitting there, all know each other, and everyone was super uncomfortable. He goes, it was the most eye-opening thing to me and so depressing. He's like, we were sitting there crippled and we didn't know what to do. And like, he goes, it was such an eye opener. And so I think that's really cool that you're like taking their phones for a little bit.
Yes.
And you might have some of your leaders that will struggle just as much. And I'm saying, like, as an adult myself, like
that
some
was
of
a
your
question.
young leaders,
Are the leaders' phones going too?
Oh, they better be.
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
They
Just
better be.
checking. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the teens will revolt.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, lead the way with that. But no, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to hearing how the castle went. Women's luncheon. Don't forget, it's on video, so the look on your face.
Nope, it's happening this Saturday.
It is happening, yes.
We're welcoming Jennifer Shaw. She's going to be coming in from the Columbus area.
Yeah. And
she's going to be singing and sharing her story, sharing the gospel to almost 200 women are coming for this luncheon. This is, I think it has become a Christmas tradition for a lot of ladies and their friends and family, which is really awesome.
And it's great because it's become a Christmas tradition for the women of the church, but so many women outside the church.
Oh, they bring so many friends and neighbors, and they fill this place up. So it has a really good spirit about it, and it'll be a great morning.
Yes. You are feeling a little bit of the wear and tear of what it takes to put on an event like this.
Yeah, I could say that, except that Suzanne Barton is really the main.
And I know that,
event. So she's feeling the wear and tear mostly.
Anita and I were talking about how to decorate the stage. Candy canes,
nice.
very whimsical.
Yes.
I did see some candy canes coming out of the basement. Over there.
Christmas decor, man. You gotta love it.
Yes, it'll be decked out for sure.
Yes, but it'll be good. And then Sunday.
Yes.
Speaking of a Christmas tradition.
I love it.
Yes, we get to have the preschoolers come.
Correct.
And what song are you guys singing this year?
Happy birthday, Jesus.
They are not. I will remind everybody, it was written into my contract to not
you were hired, you were not
Happy
allowed to
Birthday
use it
Jesus.
for
a couple years. Just for a couple
Until
years.
2026.
Wow.
So, no, we are actually, and as Pastor Ed had just said, it would have been more fitting last weekend, but they are singing the last verse of In the Bleak Midwinter, which is a great hymn.
Yeah.
But we've been doing a really neat journey through the month of December, and they're getting into it. It's called The Search for the Shepherd. And so they follow a shepherd every day when they come into preschool. And he leads them on a journey to different parts of the nativity story.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
so we spent a lot of time learning about shepherds and how the angels came to the shepherds, and so very fitting in the last verse of In the Bleak Midwinter. If I were a shepherd, I would give him a lamb, and then yet what can I give him? I can give him my heart.
Yeah.
At the end. So it's a
that'll be
really
good.
neat. It's a really it's a really neat one. It'll be a tearjerker. They're all gonna be dressed up as little shepherds, carrying their lambs. And
Catch it on YouTube for sure.
They got little hearts. They're gonna give them little.
they just have a lamb. I don't think they can handle holding more
If
than
you need
one
feet or
thing.
hands, I have some upstairs.
Tiny hands holding the lamb.
I give them my hand.
Hands holding the lamb.
No.
Be a touching moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. So,
I am looking forward to
that's awesome.
catching on YouTube because, like I said, I'll be out of
I
town.
know,
Steve will be at the
everybody's gonna be
castle. I know.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
You'll
Be
I'll be here. It'll be here.
Yes.
We'll pack it.
That's
yeah.
a great
With
song.
our families. Yeah, it'll be really cute.
Wonderful.
So, and they have their verse, and then they'll sing "This Little Light of Mine."
But
talking
they're
about
all going to
Jesus
be
will give them
shepherds.
light. They're all going to be shepherds.
No donkeys.
No donkeys. They were playing Yeah,
I know.
they were acting out.
Lainey today was a perfect.
Yeah.
She gave the perfect donkey noise, and I was like,
Yes.
"Oh man, that'd be awesome if she did that on Sunday."
Yeah, no.
If I was here,
She
I would have
might.
told her to. Yeah,
I
she
don't
might.
know.
Yeah.
We'll
She
see.
might. Yeah.
Did you
might
make all
happen.
their costumes? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
What this in the snow? The snowstorm gave me, a day at home to. So
Oh my gosh.
Man.
we were able to dig out like 3 out of the
I was gonna
drama
say, we don't
closet,
have enough to
but
cover
not
that
little.
many. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we made some, with some donations by some very generous ladies of the church
Key
donated
people.
fabric.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
we were able to sew some little shepherd costumes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Might
That's
come
good.
back early.
Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna
Sorry,
be
kids,
good.
get in the van. We're
An
out of
hour
here.
early. Yeah.
If you get your cell phone back, you can watch it.
you
If
can.
you do.
Yeah, we can
You
watch
may
it
not.
live.
They may just throw them out.
Yeah.
Really good.
Oh man. So Rick, how about like the Christmas weekend, like the bowling outing, the
What bowling outing? We didn't have.
My heart dropped.
I got canceled. I got
So,
canceled
I
with
know.
that idea.
Invited.
there was no well.
I just want you to know it wasn't my idea to
There was-
cancel it. I wanted it.
It was me giving Rick a chance because
That's
there was a
right.
couple people that were asking me on Sunday, like, "Hey, it didn't get in the bulletin for our
Yeah.
bowling outing this
Yeah.
year." I was like,
Right.
"Hey, I'm pretty sure we're
there's a
not
reason
seeing
for that.
it."
See there this Sunday. That's what he said.
It's tonight at 7:00.
So mad.
No, it was Kenny. So
Oh no, he's even
it
better.
would have been even better. But there was a couple others besides Kenny. But yeah,
Wow.
so when I checked with Rick, I'm like, hey, if I remember correctly, Rick's like, yeah, remember I wanted to do it and everyone voted me down. And I was like, oh yeah. So, but we're not doing bowling. We are.
Yeah.
We are.
Where am I going to
doing-
wear that suit now? I got to find a way to wear that
Yeah,
suit.
some
Christmas Eve
opportunity for the
services.
suit.
Want
Yeah,
that
the,
at the
the Christmas Eve
Okay,
services.
all right.
You could wear that.
It's actually a little small on me. Steve could probably wear it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, big on me. That's what I meant.
Yeah, right. Okay. I was going to say small, like the Indians jacket he had on before you came in. He was going to keep it on.
Yeah.
But, so we have Tree Fest. We have the Christmas services.
Yes.
What are you excited about? How are things coming together? If you want to remind people of times.
Yeah. Sunday the 22nd will be 9/11. No Sunday school. And we're doing, which we've done for the past couple of years, I think, doing communion together, which I really like doing that on the Sunday before Christmas. And then on Christmas Eve, if we're going to call it that, or the Christmas Adam. So on Monday, we'll be at same time both nights, 6 o'clock both nights. Pretty much identical services, slight differences. But, those 2 nights, I look forward to that. Tree Fest will open at 5. So let people have a good hour, and then they can come afterwards, too, and walk through.
Yeah.
And less trees. We need more people to do trees this year. We're a little down on trees, so if you're sitting at home or listening.
People need to sign up.
Yes, experience the joy of doing a tree.
Yeah, absolutely. And
the less trees, the better chance I have of winning, but I don't like to look at it in that way. I want to win fair and square.
Yeah, you don't want to win on a down
I want to win fair and square.
That's why the Pettises aren't doing the light fight, because they don't want to win on a year that
you're not participating.
Exactly. And, Even though I've never won, so I don't know why.
Why it matters.
Your election was stolen, Steve. Just like my Tree Fest, stolen every year.
Exactly.
Stolen. The votes were there.
Yes.
You should have decorated Carl and Franny's house.
There is a spring barrel competition worth $500.
Wow.
Really?
Top prize, yes. But actually, we've been driving around looking at the competition with just Carl and Franny's stuff. I feel like they
have a legit shot.
Yeah, they've been adding to their display.
Oh.
Here and there. Theirs is far more classy than what I would probably do. And that's probably why Franny doesn't want to release the fury that could have been released too. Yep. Mm-hmm.
She would like to stay more classy and classic and
they don't listen to the podcast, so I could probably say they were struggling to keep all their lights on already. So to add my stuff, they would have I don't know, we'd have to put a power plant nearby, nuclear most likely. Yeah.
Not because they weren't paying the electric bill.
No,
it was just,
none of that. I just don't think their house is prered to.
Yes.
I didn't know they had electricity out where they lived.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, do they?
About a couple months ago.
Months ago.
I know they're out there.
Actually,
Indoor plumbing now
Actually,
too.
the funny thing is you were complaining about your internet provider. They have that new fiber optic.
Yeah,
it's out
really?
there.
How did they get that out there?
Yeah, they came out there, and this guy had this ditch witch, and he's making his way to give them high-speed internet, Rick.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
It's crazy, I know, but
no justice in this.
Rick,
no justice.
Rick,
I know.
Rick still has.
So even though we don't have indoor plumbing out there, at least we have high-speed
I'm paid
internet.
for high speed. I just don't have it.
That's dirty.
Yep.
Oh, that is bad.
Yep.
So, okay, as we talked about the busyness of this season, I don't want to assume that we all love the Christmas time of year. Some people, a lot of people love it. I love the Advent season, even with all the chaos. But for some, it is more of all the obligations is just that, just more chaos. And then the hard thing of, like we were talking about before we came on, you have to tell your kids no to some things so that you can do other things. And that's not always fun, especially when it's all good stuff. But when this time of year comes, do you look forward to it and embrace the chaos? Or is it like, man, I just want to get through and be done?
Well, you're all looking at me.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Yeah.
Well, it's,
Yeah, life is... been through a lot of Christmases, so life has changed.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Years ago, I just made it a point of saying, Christmas, church-wise, we've got to put some kind of a limit on things.
Yeah,
so that people really do have some time as families.
Yeah.
So personally, we've practiced.
Except
that.
for the bowling night.
Well,
okay. Just clarifying.
You know, I didn't realize, and I don't know if this coincided, I didn't realize that you were in a bowling league for a while.
Oh, yeah.
So were we going to the bowling night so he could showcase your talents, Rick? Is that what was happening? I didn't know that.
Where did you get this idea? I was in a bowling league. I was never in a bowling league.
Years ago. Years ago,
bowling
you and Kelly. You said you and Kelly joined one just to.
No, I said we always wanted to join one. We were trying to get our small group to join one just to meet some more people out there. You know.
For some reason,
Yeah, but no, I was never
I thought
in.
you were just recently in a bowling league.
No. If that was on Facebook, it was wrong.
Fake news. Fake news. Never mind. So
We'd
my
like
theory
to be
was
someday.
wrong.
Yes.
Hopefully someday.
Someday.
Anyway, back to you,
Nice.
Pastor.
Back
Trying to keep things simple. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That's all right. Sorry.
yeah. We started to do that a long time ago. So really, this season, I enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah.
And I don't feel rushed or anything. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Good time. Our challenge is to find the time to get together with the different parts of the family.
Absolutely.
You know, and trying to work that out. It's a bit of a challenge, but,
Yeah.
but it comes together. The best thing that we've had here in Springfield has been my sister lives right up in West Springfield, and I don't know how many Christmas Eves. It's always been church and then up to Roberta's.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's great. Even with the disruption of my in-laws and all of that stuff, we've been able to hold on to that. And it's just a good time.
Yeah.
Just relaxing. And
Something to look forward to.
yeah.
That's great.
What about the rest of you? Love it? Just make it through?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Come on. My children's ministries. Come on.
I know. I was going to say, well, yeah.
The lights and the fun. And
Yeah.
we're building gingerbread houses later, guys. Come
Nice.
on. For our, oh my gosh, it's my favorite.
I hate that.
So, yeah, for
Really?
that's our
That's interesting.
We're making them with graham crackers.
My mother used to hot glue them.
Well, that's
together.
not
So
right.
they were-
That's what I grew up with.
That's not
Yeah.
That makes sense, though. There's some
It would
wisdom
actually
there.
stay. It would. If you're not
But you
eating
can't
them.
eat hot glue.
You can't
Yeah,
eat hot glue.
that's true.
It's okay. It's all right.
Eat around it.
Yeah. And it's crazy, and I'm doing too much, and that's just me. So,
Well, yeah.
whatever.
So it's, yeah.
I mean, it is crazy, and I do have moments where we were like sitting on the couch last night, and I'm like, we put the lights on the tree because we go get a real tree every year. So
Yeah.
we had
Ah,
half
real
of our
tree
kids.
person.
We are, yes. We go cut one down, and
The wealthy
Yep.
people.
we had to
I love
let
that.
it sit. Oh, gosh.
Taking away our oxygen,
actually
cutting them
found-
down.
Yes,
Murder.
that's true.
Murder.
Environment.
Yeah, what
I
about
will-
the
Thank you,
environment?
Steve.
Better than plastic
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
in my house
Plastic.
poisoning us. Anyways,
Yep.
It has such a good scent when you open it out of the box and it's been
oh
there
no,
for
the
a
other
whole
real
year.
tree. It
Oh,
got put up
oh.
last night. Oh my gosh, it's
The
so
spiders.
Where
You
did you
just
guys
get
go
those-
to cut it down?
So there is a little tree house, okay, or a little tree farm. I'll tell you the sad story. We've gone for years.
Yeah.
It's just south of Conneaut on 84. It's called Deb's Tree Farm, and it was this older gentleman. It was his wife's dream for years and years to have a little tree farm. So it's real little. It's sweet. She died a few years ago from cancer, and her husband and her son keep it open. And her
This
memory.
was a Hallmark movie.
It is.
Libby, you watched this
is.
last night in Hallmark. Come on.
It's very sweet. It's on 84 in
Yeah.
Pontiac. So we go, they walk you out, you pick your tree, they cut
Yeah.
it down for you so you don't have to do it
Oh,
yourself,
okay.
and then they bring it back. And it's just a real simple,
Nice.
fun little tradition.
Nice.
So we go there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Look it up on
Yeah.
Facebook.
I'm gonna have to
It's there.
investigate
Deb's
this now.
Tree
This
Farm.
is too much like
Deb's Tree Farm.
Mel's going to ask you how much because he might
I
be
know,
there
I
next
know.
year.
It was $60.
Oh,
So
you-
it wasn't bad. $9 a foot.
Wait, that's
So,
a good deal.
Yes.
Yes.
Anymore?
Oh, fake tree
Better than
person.
my 7881.
Wow.
Wow.
And I cut it down myself.
Yes. We're being good
big?
stewards,
How tall?
Paul.
So
I know, my brother's Christmas tree.
it did hit, I think, 7 feet because
Yeah.
it was 10.
Okay.
I think it's 10.50 a pound,
Yeah.
but then like with tax or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Investment, though.
Yeah.
for the tree
But
farm.
we
You're probably mooching off your in-laws this year. You don't even have to get a tree,
No.
right?
Oh,
That's
you're-
awesome.
Where is my tree?
That's great.
For the tree fest, I might just put my own tree up.
Yeah.
So I can see my
There you
ornaments
go.
again.
There you go.
Don't you love that about Christmas?
Yes.
Both for
Yeah.
you if
It's
you
all
do.
the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Bring a tree.
Yeah, you
We need
bring your
trees.
own ornaments. I
Yep.
love that part.
Yes.
Oh my
It's
god.
all working.
Everybody has their favorites. The kids fight over what
Yes.
ornaments they're going to
Oh
put
my
up.
gosh.
It's all the
Yeah.
favorites. All
So,
the moments. Making
Do
the
you
moments
guys
happen.
do you guys just have all your ornaments in like general containers, or is it divided up by family member?
Oh no, we have one giant, but that's a good.
Oh
One big
no, we always
family,
like,
so-
and this was, and I think Angie's was the same, but our house, there's no way my ornaments were with my siblings. My ornaments were
They're
with
all
me.
my ornaments.
We
first of
all
all.
had like
Really?
they're all mine.
They're all mine.
No, and so like even
Well,
now,
because the kids pick out an ornament every year. Like, that's one of our
Yeah.
things. So the
Oh.
kids each have their own, but they're all just put together.
but it's
How many
no
trees
like
do you have then?
We should have multiple, but we only have
Yeah.
two.
Yeah,
So-
that's what stinks is when your tree fills up and then you can't.
And they can
put
only
some
pick and
up.
choose
Yeah,
your
you-
favorite.
yeah.
But your
We-
guys were divided up by boxes.
Oh,
and names.
absolutely.
Did you have
And
sections of the tree where your stuff went?
No, it was just a free for all, and like that's then it was a fight because like
That's when you don't see the tree anymore.
there
It's just
there are
solid.
certain ornaments that need to be front and center, and then the siblings would go at it.
Oh my god!
And like,
Wow.
oh yeah, like this was, and we had a list, handwritten out list, and it just,
Wow.
and now Angie's is like, and that's how it was in our house, and I think that's how it was at her house because with our kids, like Angie and I share a box, but the kids have separate lists,
Oh my
separate
gosh.
boxes,
Interesting.
and it's just we all decorate around, and it's all of our personal.
Are you
like,
gonna give them the ornaments when they go?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's and so a lot of my like I have my baby's first Christmas from 1978.
I could not ever.
I have like all of those like all of my ornaments went with me when I moved out.
No, they're mine. Buy your own ornaments, kids.
I am curious. Do your kids get to
Yeah,
put
but what-
ornaments
so
on
like-
your tree?
No,
Because you
I
said
do
they're
the
all
I
yours.
decorate it when they're at school.
Oh, that's
Can't
like
be trusted.
But is yours like
man.
a special tree that has only like the nice decorations?
Nope,
Or
we don't. It is one tree. All our family ornaments
Okay.
are on the tree.
so like but like your ornaments as a child, or maybe you didn't have any ornaments as a child.
I was not sent with ornaments. No.
Okay, but like it's
No.
but like did you guys have like a baby's first Christmas ornament?
Yeah, but I don't have that.
Okay, she still hangs it
Yep.
at your mom does.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yep.
Everyone has different traditions.
Yeah, no bitterness over that, Paula,
Yeah.
right?
No,
no,
no, 'cause
okay.
I'm keeping my
Just
children.
checking. Just checking. Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing. No.
do you guys have colored lights or white lights on your
White
tree?
lights.
So,
White.
y'all, we went to Lowe's last year. I have
color?
The multiple color-
remote control.
Yeah, the
but I
multiple-
can change it
Yeah.
to white when mom is relaxing,
That's
Wow.
and I can change it to color when the
Nice.
kids are
Kids,
there.
Wow.
Olivia tries
Wow.
to
We
change it.
went bougie
Nice.
last year.
Yes, yes.
Nice. Ours used to do that.
Yeah.
So, do you guys white lights, color
Yeah,
lights?
just white, pre-lit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep,
You have an
right.
artificial pre-lit.
Yep.
Yeah, we were
That's
talking
it.
about that the
Yeah,
other day.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Do you have any lights on your tree, Pastor Ed?
Just barely.
Yeah.
We went through the cycle when we first got back here and Seth was very young. We would get a live tree every year.
Yep.
And then we would plant it in our yard.
Love that.
Our property is ringed by
Okay.
we about
By your
four,
Christmas trees.
4 years in a row.
Yeah.
Love that.
Now they're way up there.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
cool.
Over the years, then, Connie got to the point where the whole idea of the tree and all of that, it was just too much work.
Yeah, and the needles falling.
Oh yeah, the mess and everything. So she has.
I
We
will be a
have.
tree murderer
We
every
have a
year with the
little.
mess.
We have a
Yeah.
little tree that grows in our house all the time. It's a real skinny thing. It's almost a Charlie Brown, almost.
Okay.
But basically, she just rings a few things around it each year. And that's it.
Lights. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's it. That's it.
Your cell phone does take pictures?
Yeah.
Oh, you should take a picture.
You
of it.
should,
I really
yeah.
want to see it.
And-
Next
and
staff
bring it
meeting,
in.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to
Yes.
see it.
All right.
That would be.
I'm
that'd be
super
amazing.
curious now what it looks like.
Could add that to our Christmas offering.
Yeah.
Trying to raise
Yeah,
money
trying to
for
raise
a
money
new
for
tree,
the-
for a tree,
Tree
to get a real artificial. Yeah.
The other thing that Connie does that I've really liked is over the years we've gotten a few different little nativity things, little nativity
Yeah.
sets, you know.
Yeah.
So she places them all around the house, and those are kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So would that be? I would love to hear like what's an Advent tradition that you guys have, and whether it's from your childhood or from now that you've established with your family. What's an Advent tradition that you really love?
Yeah, I would say the funny thing is the Pettises, we don't have like a consistent. We're not the type that ever had like a consistent thing.
Yeah.
Because there was some Christmases we would actually go see a movie on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
We go to the service and we go see a movie. I like that. But that didn't last very long. But then we had this Advent calendar.
Open the doors.
No, you would add things to it. It was like cloth.
Yes, and eventually it had the manger scene.
Yes.
Like a felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember doing that as a kid and always enjoying that. So I don't know where that thing is. I'd actually be interested in it if my parents did still have that. But we do it. We didn't do it this year because we're at our in-laws. But we usually do this Advent calendar that we got when we haven't had it super long. So we've done some different iterations of one, but we found one we really like. It's one that kind of like folds together, like it's a harder cardstock, so you can save it. And each day you open up the envelope, you read off the envelope, and then you would put together this form that fits into the manger scene with Bethlehem. It has like this whole. It's really cool, and it would fit on our mantle. And so for the past couple of years, once we found that, we've stuck with it, and it was real easy to keep all together, and so that one was pretty cool. So
that is neat. What about with you, Rick? What's
Yeah, well, it changes over the years. Obviously, when our kids were small, we did the Advent doors, the 25, and then we did. We had the names of Jesus ones that Dobson sold 30 years ago. Still have them, and that we do now with our grandkids. We used to do Sunday nights. Every night we'd light the Advent candle. We'd do one of the names of Jesus, put it on the tree. But that's all when our kids were younger. And then there was always I kept buying batteries for this book because it has it's another Advent book, but it has a different song in every night. So I had to search the internet for batteries a couple of years ago to keep it going, but it's still going.
dang, that's awesome.
Because it's got that weird song on September 25th, fum, fum, fum. And we got to singing that every year. Well, you can come to our house and hear it on the 25th because we got it down. We're pretty darn good. Yeah, we get the whole gang. But yeah, so that's kind of tradition.
We're looking for some special music.
Yeah.
You and Ed could do that.
No, not me and Ed. He doesn't know. Well, I guess he knows it well enough.
He just said what
he
knows it.
Right on.
No, all my kids will be home. Who knows? We could do fum, fum, fum. It is
that would be an idea if you guys were out with the Tree Fest
on September 25th
live. You would get many tickets.
For a couple of years, we loaded the bus. Were you ever part of that, Ed? A couple of years, we loaded the bus and went to the Pleasant Ridge and some nursing homes. We did that for a couple of years. It was on Christmas Day. Not that my kids asked for it, but they enjoyed it, I think, once they got on the bus, because we would go with other kids, teens, and some years, man, we had a good group, a good choir. And we had all the Howells kid, all his kids who can sing the nuts. We had Coffer family, our family, I forget who else. But we had pretty good sound a couple of those years. I'm like,
that's neat.
Can't pay for this.
Closest thing we came to a tradition was the Christmas Eve service, an 11 o'clock service at the Church of the Covenant downtown.
Yeah.
We did that for years and years and years. Really, really enjoyed that. A little bit of a challenge to stay awake.
Yeah.
Because after having done everything here.
Yeah, you just...
And then to go there, and 11 o'clock the service starts. And
you should have went where I went as a kid, going to midnight mass with my Catholic side. Because at midnight they'd have the same lady every year singing from behind the balcony, "O Holy Night." But with the warble, the 70. It was like, she had this warble. She's like, it was, she was in her 60s, 70s, and it was, you wouldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, you
probably not. You're like, probably not.
You couldn't sleep through that.
It was painful. Not just the song, but the way she sang it. I like the song, actually, but the way she sang it every year. We would wait for it. You'd sit there, you're waiting for it. Here it comes,
Well, back in those days, the Church of the Covenant, they have a phenomenal organ and choir. And I even knew a couple of people, and it was just great.
Yeah.
And letting somebody else do the preaching and everything, and just sit
Just
there.
to go
enjoy
and
it.
Just lighting your
Yeah.
candles. Did you get candles? Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always my favorite, was the candlelight services on Christmas
Yeah.
Eve. There was something about being a kid and being handed this flame.
Yes.
You know, but just watching the whole sanctuary light up in the darkness was just my favorite. And it's still, the Christmas Eve service is still one of my very favorite.
Yeah.
There's something about, I don't know if it's just because it's an evening service or you're all dressed up or it's the anticipation for, you know, the day ahead or, you know, whatever, but it always just feels different.
Yeah.
So that's
for sure.
still to this day, it's one of my favorites.
I always liked when, especially once I graduated, I loved Christmas Eve service because so many people were back.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true,
You know, so you got to see all your
And you
friends
got to connect.
and connect again, even if it was just for a short time.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
What about?
Yeah, we didn't do a lot like growing up Advent wise. Like that wasn't something we ever really studied or thought about. But I would say Christmas equals music in our house. So coming from a very musical family, everybody played instruments, everybody sang.
And you still hadn't heard Fum Fum Fum.
No, it's bizarre.
What about Dominic?
The Italian Christmas donkey.
The Italian Christmas
That was
donkey.
an
We
adult,
used to
but
sing
no.
that
Yes.
at our
No.
family
Oh, yeah.
Christmas. Yeah.
So good. Anyway, if you've not heard that, Pastor Ed, I'll
missed
have
that. I
to
missed that.
pull that up for you sometime. But
interesting.
music,
The
music
music.
was.
So even
yeah.
as a child in California, like my grandmother was in charge of the children's choir at church,
Yeah.
and so singing with them and that whole side of the family. But even as we continued on, it was caroling, and
Yeah.
my mom was, or the whole family was doing some sort of.
And you
special
had to do all that
music
without
or-
any snow, right? That
No
was-
snow in
man.
Northern California.
Yeah.
No. Every once in a while, we were up in Yosemite, so
Okay,
we would
there you
get
go.
So you
snow
got a
there.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas was music. And it
Yeah.
was always filling the house. Somebody was working on some kind of, and it's very much continued with, our kiddos. There's always music from
going.
4 different corners of the house, normally different and warring at this point.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
some sort of Christmas music is going on.
Oh, for sure. And like last night, so probably the tradition that from my childhood, and I've already talked about it a little bit, but when we as a family of 4 decorate our tree, that's like one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah.
And so last night, because of, just schedule and then the snowstorm and all that stuff, we got our tree Saturday, and then we let it dry out, and then, we put it up, and we weren't able to in our schedule decorate it until last night. And so we ate dinner, and the kids got their homework done, and before Mal had to go to basketball practice, we put on Christmas music, and I was just streaming it through my phone, and that was like 5:40, and my phone never left the counter, and it was just streaming Christmas music the whole time. Took Mal to basketball practice, went back an hour and a half later to get him, came back, and he's like, the music's still playing? I'm like, yeah, bud, my phone's just been sitting there the whole time, like it just, but we decorated the tree together, and it's like the kids love it too. They were, especially Emery, was eagerly anticipating, like, when are we decorating the tree? When are we, and it was just it was a great time as a family to go through and do that and have fun.
I drove past at about 6:05 and just saw the lights.
You saw the lights,
and
yes.
the nice front window just full of the tree with the lights. It looked great.
We did that last year for the first time. We took it out of our living room and put it in our dining room because the big picture window on Route 20. And we found that it was a cheating way to say that we decorated and did nothing outside. Because people will drive by.
For shame!
Yes. I know.
Just put a strand up, man.
I know. We should.
You'll hear Twyla's story of what she did to Dory and Kurt last year. She went down and she said, "If I bring some lights, can I put them on your house?" So she was shaming Kurt. And Dory tells the story all the time. So sorry, Kurt.
Right.
That
They're
is
gonna put lights
funny.
up outside.
Yeah. Do they even
very
believe in
funny.
Christ
If
coming?
we drove by your house, they would offer to come
Yes,
put some lights
yes.
on your house.
I'd take them up. No shame there. Yeah, it wouldn't bother me. Yeah. Knock yourself out.
That is great.
So on a serious note, I would love to hear. We're in this Advent season, and as a church, we're going through the book, and I can never pronounce her last name, but Asherita is her first name. How do you pronounce the last name?
Sissio.
Sissio. Okay.
Sissio.
So
Yep.
Asherita Sissio. And this has been a great thing. Our family has really enjoyed it. We sit down and do it, and it's great. I was telling Pastor Rick, the kids are in this point, and I don't know if you guys have been emphasizing it a little bit, but Emery wants to see when she finally reads through the whole Bible. Oh. So she's underlining everything she reads. Oh my goodness. And it's like, no, great. Like like interact with the word and all this stuff. And so she loves the fact that there's extra verses that she then goes back and her and Mal look it up and read it and, all that stuff. That's awesome. But
that's great.
It goes through the names of Jesus. And I would love to hear a name of Jesus that has either been meaningful to you over the years, one that in this season of life is meaningful, or even, just whatever it might be. Pastor Ed, your book is open to a page. I'm going to start with you again.
Okay. Well, the ones I preached on Sunday, of course, are my absolute favorites right now. But
not so much that you actually would have tattooed on your forearm like you showed. But anyways, that's a different story.
There's no tattoo, friends. Sorry. But anyway, at the end of Sundays, I quoted from Revelation 19.
Yeah.
And it says, it added the fact that his names were faithful and true, And then I come to what was today's reading.
Today's truth.
Jesus is the truth. And that one, I guess the reason it speaks to me right now is that there is so much lying going on in our culture. Lies. And she makes the point that truth is the construct that defines reality.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the issues, we're all aware of, just the conflict over gender confusion and what's being done to children these days.
Yeah.
And one of the quotes that I got from John Stonestreet on the Colson Center was, "This is a movement dedicated to the denial of reality." Telling children or letting them think that they are somebody who they aren't.
Yeah.
And then just going along with that and just perpetuating the lies and just destroying people. We've got to come back to truth. And Jesus is the truth. And so he sets the standard, and everything can be measured on him.
Yeah.
It just grips me that is so needed in our culture today. And I think it's needed in the church, There's lots of pressure in the church now to just, move a little bit, to be progressive.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's taken us away from truth. Gotta stick with truth.
I'm going to talk about that tonight for the leadership moment with the elders and deacons, and just the importance, because today's study was really good. Steve, your book was open. Mid-yawn, sorry. It was not intentional for that, but
I've always liked "O Come, Emmanuel" as one of my favorite Christmas songs. Even though it is kind of like a darker, as the dirge.
You did a good job with it, though.
I really enjoy it.
I like the way you do that.
I love the idea, or not the idea, that his name is God with us. That you think of other religion and other ideas of who God is, and it's always this faraway God who's always angry, but we serve a God who is willing to leave his home, to humble himself, to empty himself, as Philippians tells us, and to become one one of us. And it's one of those things that I think, because I've been a believer for so long, I love when Christmas time comes around, you're reminded of this very fact just again, anew almost, you know, with the idea of just remembering that, because we almost take it for granted as a believer, because if you believe long enough, you're like, well, of course he would want to do that, but for God, the creator of the universe, to humble himself, to be helpless as a babe, and then as a young person, and to live in humanity for us, that name's always stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if actually she was going to cover it, because I hadn't heard what we're going to do for Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve service.
Christmas Eve's service. So I was like, oh, I hope she's going to cover it. So I had to look in here. I was like, I found it.
Yeah.
It actually is on Christmas Eve.
It's
You'd read
on.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way it
Yes.
turns out, because it's day 2, so that'd be Christmas Eve, Tuesday night.
That's the
right,
24th study.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, that worked
really
out
good.
perfect. Yeah.
do you guys have a favorite name?
Yeah, I probably should preface by saying I do think there's a lot of names of Jesus, and in different seasons of my life they meant different names,
For
applied to where I was at. But I think just thinking about the Christmas season, and like I mentioned, I think just light in the Christmas holiday is so synonymous with each other, whether it's your Christmas tree or the candlelight services, or my family just went to Cleveland for my mother's birthday the other day to walk the zoo. They light up their zoo. I think it's like 150 million lights throughout the Cleveland Zoo, and you just walk through this incredible display. And so I think for me, it's Jesus, light of the world. And when I think about it, I think what really captures me is just it's when you hear things like this about Scripture, you tend to think back of when he said it, what was life like back then? And obviously this is pre-electricity, and so light meant something then. Light signified safety, and it signified, lighting your path and clearing your way and hope. Yeah. And so it meant something different to them then. But I think it's still so relevant now, because we just live kind of like you were saying, Pastor Ed, in a culture and in a society where darkness is prevailing, and we've talked about before how the enemy is not even trying to disguise himself or hide himself anymore. He's just so blatantly out there, and people are desperate, and they're hopeless, and they're suffering, and just recognizing that that's what Jesus's mission as light of the world, to bring hope and clarity and safety then, is what he desires now for our culture and our world today, and that we can look to him for that. And that's the promises he makes when he declares that aspect of his identity and his mission as light of the world. And so I think for me that just has an extra meaning this time of year.
That's good.
Well, Steve took mine, so
Really, of all the names,
of all the names I did,
yeah.
like Emmanuel is like, it's just that God with me. But I will touch base on this last Sunday. Just an incredible. Sometimes in kids ministries, you can just do and go, and you're managing chaos, and and we always have good lessons. But this Sunday was one I think will stick in my mind. Because it connects with the kids. But we talked about the Lion of Judah, which we've not ever, I don't know. Don't know that I've ever taught it, passing it on. But just the concept of, especially in kids ministries, I think we talk about Jesus as kind and gentle and loving. And that's where we stop. A lot of times, and that's where a lot of people stop. We want to talk about God's forgiveness. We want to talk about how loving God is. But he's also a lion. He's fighting for us. He is, we show, of course I had to, slide in a little C.S. Lewis, and we showed the little clips of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Aslan coming out and roaring. But we said, he's not safe. He's not safe. Jesus is not safe. He is a roaring lion, and he is fighting for us, and he's fighting against the enemy because we mean that much to him. And to have the kids, I first thought they were like, like, I don't know if I like to think about Jesus like that. One of the little girls said, so Jesus is scary? And I said, to Satan, he is.
Yeah.
To the demons, he is. And he's fighting them for us.
Yeah.
He loves us that much. And it was just this moment of being able to, show them a little glimpse of, we don't understand Jesus, but through these names, we can see little pieces. We can better understand his whole, but if we understand these different names. And it was just, I think it was a good reminder for me too. He's not safe, but he's good.
Yeah.
He's so good. And so that study of, the Lion of Judah was good reminder.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go along with it because mine is kind of what I've been thinking about coming up for the Sermon Sunday is just what's it mean that he's our great high priest? What does it mean that Jesus is interceding for us? Goes along a little bit with what you're just saying, that he's
for sure.
He is actively, in some ways, I don't think we'll ever totally understand this, but he's actively, definitely against the accuser, against Satan, he's interceding for us. Claiming that we're righteous in Christ, but just how in what other ways is Jesus interceding for us? Like even in Romans 8 here, it talks about that he's Jesus who died, rose to life, sat at the right hand, and he is also interceding for us.
Yeah,
and that's all in the context of being a conqueror and not being separated from the love of Christ. So in what ways is Jesus interceding for us? Where would we be if he wasn't interceding for us is what I'm thinking about. And what does that look like that he's interceding for us? It's supposed to bring us great assurance and comfort, just like I think when Jesus told Peter that night, hey, Satan's asked me to sift you like wheat, but I'm praying for you. I'm interceding for you.
Yeah.
So some days we need to really remember we're not in this battle alone. Right. We got the Lion of Judah, and he's interceding for us.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think, meant to comfort us. It's meant to help us draw courage. I'm still thinking that through. What all does that mean that he's interceding for us? Yeah, quite a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think, and this is 100% because I've been researching it, for the December 22nd sermon. But Man of Sorrows has been one that really has been different this time around. And I guess I know, the Holy Spirit is our comforter, and, there's all these things I know, but just to revisit Isaiah 53 with a different set of eyes, and to really come to grips with part of his love for us was that he not only came to earth, but he ran head first into what he knew was going to be pain and suffering and rejection and all of the things that we run away from, and he has experienced all of it out of his love for us is what let him go through that, and the strength of the Father in him, and just the reminder of so many today are suffering. They don't feel like they belong. They don't feel like they have anyone. They don't feel like anyone understands them. And they can go to Jesus, and Jesus went through all of it. He went through the mess. He went through the hurt. He went through his family rejecting him. Obviously, Mary didn't, in the end. And Joseph, his father, had passed, but his siblings didn't. It wasn't until after the fact. And so everyone abandoned him in that moment. I mean, the Father, he had to, take on the wrath of the Father and take on all sin and go through all of that for us. And it's been something that has made me appreciate a different aspect of Jesus so much more in this season during Advent, and to be reminded of that aspect of love.
Great.
And it wasn't like that was a difficult, extremely difficult portion of his love for us. Like it took him to the cross, and it took him to tremendous suffering. And so that's it's been a good reminder this season.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Anything you want to say before we sign off? Because I know it's already midway through December, but we're signing off from the podcast for the year. We'll come back in a few weeks once the holiday season is over. But anything that you want to, any advice in this Advent season, last minute advice for those watching or listening?
Yeah,
I want to clarify.
A tree with lights, you definitely want to keep a good 2 inches of space in between wraps.
Okay.
Handyman.
I don't know if that's going to help anyone out there.
And I do want to clarify that we were never in a bowling league, so that we know the truth.
Yes.
But no, I do want to say one seriously.
Steve's not the only one. I thought that you had done that.
Right.
I thought it was more than just you wanted to.
Maybe it's a prophetic word here.
Prophetic
Maybe
word,
we're going to be in a bowling league in 2025. Maybe that's how we're going to
have a
thrive in 2025 by being in a bowling league.
Federated bowling league.
50 years ago, my mother was in it.
You say your mother?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she was in the Federated Bowling.
The Federated Church had a lot of bowlers.
It was a big
for
deal.
years. He went
Oh,
to
man.
nationals.
Actually, Chris bowled too.
He
Yeah.
did for
Yes,
years.
Chris
Yeah.
is a good bowler too.
I have a bowling ball
Not
in the
KB,
basement. It's
Chris
pink.
Adams.
It's cute.
I got one serious thought to end
one
on.
Oh, yeah, one good thing.
To redeem this time.
Let's try it. Let's listen to Rick.
I think it's a good challenge to us and everybody listening out there. But I think Christmas offers as great a chance as Easter does to bring up the subject because at Easter, not everybody believes that Jesus died and rose again. I mean, they just don't. Now, they might believe he died, but they don't, tell me he rose again. It's hard to find anybody at Christmas who doesn't believe Jesus actually came to this earth. Yeah. Really, I've hard to find anybody.
They might not believe he is who
they
he
know
says he
Santa.
was.
They figured out Santa's a myth.
Yeah.
But they don't think, they really believe Jesus came there. So I think, again, going back to a question I was asking people to ask a couple weeks ago, which I asked a guy last week, hey, assuming you believe Jesus did come to this earth, why do you think he came? And the guy had to just honestly look at me and say, I have no idea why he came. So it's like such an open door because most people do believe Jesus came to the earth, but they really, a lot of them, I don't think you even have a clue. Yeah. He just said, I don't have a clue, kind of thing. So it's a perfect open door. So we had to keep thinking about that over the next couple of weeks, whether we're shopping someplace or at a restaurant. Just simple question like that. Can't offend anybody too much, kind of thing. But it's a great opportunity.
For sure. Good. And those conversations, God will give us the chance to have them. And if we're trusting in the Holy Spirit, he'll give us the words.
Right. Right.
And so we encourage you to do that. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on Federated Squared Circle, Wrestling with God's Word. We will see you in the new year, and we hope that you have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And yes, we'll see you later.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.